welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It. Sorry, I gotta move my microphone over here. Hopefully it doesn't make a noise. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpeer.
Hello. I love the hesitation at the start of every episode while you figure out what one we're doing.
Oh, no, I gotta figure out if the video has started, because I click the button and it thinks for a second, and there's always a pop-up that says, your video started recording, and I'm sort of like, is it? Can I start? No, I can start talking now. All right. This is our second week of the Swords of Ditto.
Mm-hmm.
I will talk about it during TVGP proper this week. Boy, I really didn't feel like playing a lot of games this week, so Swords of Ditto sort of fell under that umbrella.
Oh, everybody has those weeks.
Yeah.
I feel you a lot in that front. I did play a fair bit of this, however.
Okay. I played a couple, 2 or 3 hours, I think.
I think I put a good 9 in, so
nice.
Yeah. It's not so nice when you realize that 9 of those was me dying 6 times. So
Great.
So, yes, things I learned this week. Shall we just jump straight in?
Sure, yes.
The sword levels and the level of the sword carries over from character to character. I didn't know that at first. Now I do.
Okay, interesting.
So now I know that. You can buy basically a second life potion from the whale.
That's what he was asking. So I did find DJ Space Whale this week.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny because I had not run into the whale for the first time. The first time you run into it, the dung beetle pops up on screen. It's like, go look at that thing. Cough, cough, cough.
Yes.
I'd never managed to run into that thing before. So I did it. The second currency popped up on the screen, and DJ Space Whale said, hey, if you want to give me 200 of these things, you might get a second chance. And I was like, I've 4 of them, so I'm not sure yet, but okay.
Yep. Good news is when you restart, after you die, you will have that second currency available from the get-go.
Cool.
The second you have 200 and you have one of those things available, go and buy it.
Okay.
Because it's basically just a second life. It's like,
okay.
Oh, you're in the room that you died in, you have full health now, go nuts.
Perfect.
Yep. So I used that a couple of times. I was very annoyed with myself because I managed to find 2 Toys of Legend and failed at the Anchor Dungeon again because I'm stupid.
So what were the toys you picked up?
The first one I got was the ring laser again.
Okay.
But that wasn't the toy I needed for the Anchor Dungeon. For the Anchor Dungeon, I needed the record player.
Okay. I didn't know there was a record.
The record, I should say. Which is basically like a Frisbee.
Interesting.
And I was literally running around. And there was one for sale in one of the shops, but I didn't pick it up for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I was running around. I found the Anchor Dungeon. I was like, well, this is the laser dungeon, so I'm fine. I went into the Anchor Dungeon, and there's a record player sitting right on at the front of it. I was like, no.
There we go.
It's not the laser.
That's interesting because I beat the game the first time, which we'll get into, but the 2 toys that I got for mine were the drone was the first one, which I keep getting, and I think it was Monkey Senior from the community also kept getting as his first one, so I thought that was the one you were always going to get. And the second one I got was a golf club, which the golf club Anchor Dungeon, it is rough.
Oh, jeez.
Because you have to use the golf club. You can hit enemies with it, but you're not going to do that. You need to use it to hit these giant golf balls all over the dungeon to activate platforms above you, or make the ground solid, or hit 10 of them, and then once you do that, the door opens and stuff like that. It was rough. I'm still not entirely sure I liked it, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah. I failed at the Anchor Dungeon, but I did manage to get one of my badges leveled up 3 times, so now the robot one is my go-to badge at this point.
Right.
Because he's got 15 luck straight off the get-go.
Oh, nice.
And I did some more digging into the crown situation.
Ah, yes.
So you kill the thing with the crown. Every single time you hit them, they drop stuff, it appears, or at least the majority of time you hit them, they drop currency coins or little, whatever, the celestial essence, whatever they're called.
Right.
The more you do that, the bigger the crown gets.
Oh.
The bigger the crown gets, the more stuff they drop.
Cool.
So if you consistently hit the crown one first, then you get more and more rewards for following the crown kind of thing.
Nice.
So it's kind of like a British simulator. Follow the crown and get rewarded.
That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But no, it seemed to be helping. Like, I got 2 celestial essences. I had a big run because I managed to bring myself back from death twice in the one run.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, now I'm like level 10. It's like I'm getting closer. And then I made it up to the bottom of one of the dungeons and had to face a shadow of the sword. And just got whomped because I was like, this isn't the boss room. I'm just going to go in. I've got low health. I'm just going to go in.
I should be fine.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, it was the boss room. I should have used the stupid warp to get to the main entrance, go back to town, buy a bunch of health stuff, and then go back in after that. I didn't. And I paid the price for it.
Man.
So I died again.
Yeah, I on the winning run I had, I fought the same boss in both Anchor dungeons, which was that giant snail, which is kind of a fun fight. Okay. Actually, I was actually pretty happy with the run that I had. I've leveled up my badge all the way, so I'm doing like 20% extra damage, and a lot of that is fire damage, which is really great. Mm-hmm. The final dungeon was really good. It was 6 floors or so. There was one mechanic. There's actually 2 new mechanics they introduced in there. The one that I really wish they had explained a lot more is when you kill an enemy, it's a crystal block. It almost looks like a crystal brain drops. Uh-huh. And after a little bit of time, it shatters. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this thing. I find that there's a skull thing I need to go put those into. Once I put enough of them in, the door opens. So not the craziest, but it's one of those things where it's like, this room is it's like 3 screens wide. I genuinely have no idea what I'm supposed to do in here.
Yeah.
One of my big problems with this game is I really wish on the map when you're in a dungeon that locked doors you've opened and chests you've opened don't show on the map anymore.
Don't they have a cross through them?
Not on my version. maybe there's like a patch that didn't come out for the PS4, but
possibly. I'll have a look at mine and have a check. I think you may be right. Actually, they might not do. But yeah,
it just has like a little lock symbol, and it's like, did I open that one already? Because I have a key. Which one of these? And if you go for a dungeon, if you go in a dungeon and it gives you one of the modifiers where Lazarus, where enemies respawn every time you go in the room, you sort of don't want to wander around the dungeon too much.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah, donuts are pretty expensive.
Yes, they are.
But I did finish it. I got this icon, this thing that the game gave me for beating it. You can go put that into basically Stonehenge, and one of these 5 lights light up.
I know the thing you're talking about. I've bumped into the actual stone place itself.
Yeah. You can put that in there, and one of the lights light up, and basically your dung beetle friend is like, let's keep going. And that's where I stopped for this week. And part of it is because I sort of don't feel like playing a lot of stuff this week, and the other part of it is I wish Swords of Ditto had like one more thing. I wish it was a little bit more complex. I think you had been recommending it for the last couple weeks, and I think correctly, as a good starter roguelike. Like, you have the character building, you have the permadeath, you have starting back over, you have all those elements that are really great. And I think it is a good starter roguelike, but I'm sort of especially coming off of Darkest Dungeon, like I want something that has like 20 systems and they all interlock and they're all poorly documented. Like that's what I'm looking for.
Oh boy, do I have a game for you in this week's main show.
Oh, exciting. But yeah, like Swords of Ditto is good and it's very well made and it is fun to play, and it's nice that we're getting just kind of to where Hands of Fate was a little bit. We're getting sort of a full on hack and slash, almost Zelda game. But I just wish there's a little bit more. It's like not landing for me right now.
Yeah, I'm curious if it gives you more the more you go on, kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
I think that's the thing that we both need to probably test out. Is I need to beat it once and not do stupid mistakes and die.
I mean, I went into the final dungeon with so much healing stuff, and I came out by the skin of my teeth. And why does Skype keep breaking?
Note to self: make sure that I have plenty of healing items.
Yeah, every time I was done with a dungeon, I would just go into town, buy up everything, like the food stall guy, the full on, the grocery store and all that. I bought all that stuff, and that worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
but yeah, Swords of Ditto is still good. I still dig the story seems pretty interesting after you beat it the first time. I certainly won't spoil it for anyone, but it's a cool little thing on the end of it. And I feel like there might be something more going on with the story. Like I feel like someone isn't telling the truth in one of the NPCs, but I sort of don't know which. I don't know. Any final thoughts for this week of Moon?
Not particularly. I did actually notice, however, that the more you die without beating it, the more the world changes. It gets darker and more purple.
Yeah, and like the buildings decay more.
Yep, and in the graveyard, there was a wooden structure being built that turned into what looked like a Burning Man, like Guy Fawkes kind of figure. And then I died again, and when I came back, that was just a giant lit up model of Modena or whatever her name is.
Oh, cool!
And it was like a big statue in her honor in the middle of the graveyard. So
that's cool.
It's kind of cool seeing it like slowly decay a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what happens when I actually beat it, or if you do the reverse, and if you don't beat her and keep dying, how bad it can get.
Right. All right, well, that's the end of our second week for the Swords of Ditto. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.